Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Metropolis Radio. Today we are talking about Quentin Tarantino's Star Trek movie. But before we go any deeper, guys, just remember that at least one of my videos every week will not be coming to the YouTube channel. It will only be coming to my BitChute, Odyssey, and Rumble channels. So if you're watching this on YouTube and you have not started following me on at least one of those three other sites, the links to those are down in the description below. But anyway, guys, let's get into this from Variety. What happened to Tarantino's Star Trek film? Every detail about his canceled pitch. Paramount confirmed this week that WandaVision director is it Shakeman or Shockman? I don't know how to pronounce his name. I've personally never heard it pronounced. Will head into production on a new Star Trek movie later this year with Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, Zoe Saldana, Carl Urban, John Cho, and Simon Pegg reprising their roles for a fourth go-around on the big screen. For Quentin Tarantino fans, the news is the latest reminder that the Oscar winner's Star Trek movie remains dead, at least for now. Tarantino fans were sent into a frenzy in late 2017 after it was announced that Paramount and Star Trek producer J.J. Abrams loved Tarantino's pitch for a new Star Trek movie and were assembling a writer's room to flesh out the idea. Tarantino ultimately partnered with the Revenant screenwriter Mark L. Smith, who was tasked with writing a Star Trek film script based on Tarantino's idea, while Tarantino was busy finishing post-production and touring the world for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Smith revealed on the Bulletproof Screenwriting podcast in August 2021 that J.J. Abrams' production company Bad Robot gave him a call on Tarantino's behalf. Quote, "They just called me and said, 'Hey, are you up for it? Do you want to go? Quentin wants to hook up.' And I said, 'Yeah,' the screenwriter said. And that was the first day I met Quentin in the room, and he's reading a scene that he wrote, and it was awesome. Cool gangster scene, and he's acting it out back and forth. I told him I was so mad I didn't record on my phone. It would be so valuable. It was amazing." Tarantino intended to bring a Pulp Fiction vibe to Star Trek with an idea that was largely Earthbound stories set in a 1930s gangster setting. Tarantino's pitch appeared to take inspiration from a piece of the action, the 17th episode of the second season of Star Trek the Original Series. The installment, which aired in 1968, followed the Enterprise crew as they visit a planet with an Earth-like 1920s gangster culture. Smith told Bulletproof Screenwriting that the screenwriting process started almost immediately after he agreed to work with Tarantino, adding, quote, "I would go hang out at his house one night and we would watch old gangster films. We were there for hours. We were just kicking back watching gangster films, laughing at the bad dialogue, but talking about how it would bleed into what we wanted to do." According to Smith, Tarantino's Star Trek idea was really wild and like its own very cool episode. The plot included a little time travel stuff going on and had a lot of fun with Chris Pine's Captain Kirk. And like I said previously, guys, it's not like Star Trek movies have never done time travel before. You had Star Trek 4, the Voyage Home, which dealt with, time travel and the whole Save the Whales thing. You also had Star Trek First Contact was all time travel. So it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility for a Star Trek movie to play around with time travel. Tarantino fans expected the director to go all in on Pine, considering Tarantino's outspoken love for the actor. Tarantino has called the Pine starring Unstoppable one of his favorite action films, and he had nothing but praise for Pine's performance as Kirk in 2009 Star Trek reboot. And guys, for those that don't know what they're referencing, is the movie Unstoppable with Chris Pine. I believe Denzel Washington was also in it. I think it was the last movie that Tony Scott had directed too. Quote, "I thought Chris Pine did a fantastic job, not just playing Captain Kirk, but playing William Shatner's captain. He is William Shatner," Tarantino once told MTV. "He's not just another guy. He's William Shatner's Captain Kirk. And Zachary Quinto is literally Leonard Nimoy's because they both have the same scene together. He's his Spock. They fucking nail it. They just nail it." Tarantino's Star Trek was widely believed to be rated R, although it was never confirmed. Fans expected the R rating given the graphic nature of Tarantino's movies. It was also never confirmed that Tarantino would direct the script himself. Tarantino has maintained that he is retiring from feature filmmaking after his 10th directorial effort, which means he only has one movie left to make, post Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Fans question whether or not Tarantino would want an IP-based movie like Star Trek to be his curtain call. Tarantino revealed to the Consequence of Sound in December of 2019 that he was steering away from directing the Trek movie. A final blow arrived in January of 2020 when Tarantino confirmed, quote, "I think they might make the movie, but I just don't think I'm going to direct it. It's a good idea. They should definitely do it, and I'll be happy to come in and give them some notes on the first rough cut." After Justin Lin's 2016 entry, Star Trek Beyond underwhelmed at the box office with less than $400 million worldwide, Paramount put a pause on the film franchise as it figured out what to do next. Tarantino and Smith's script was one of 3 potential Star Trek films in development at the same time. Fargo and Legion creator Noah Hawley was working on his own Star Trek film that was to feature a new cast. Well, damn it, wrong pipe. While Paramount was also developing a more traditional sequel to Beyond with the same cast, filmmaker S.J. Clarkson was attached to this third Trek idea for a time. The Star Trek announcement this week confirmed that a Beyond sequel with the returning cast is officially a go. Paramount announced in July of 2021 that Shackman was hired to helm a new Star Trek movie, the cast for which was unclear at the time. Shackman is a prolific television director with credits that include WandaVision, 6 Feet Under, House, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Game of Thrones, and Succession. He's only directed one previous feature, the 2015 indie Cut Bank with Liam Hemsworth and Billy Bob Thornton. As reported by Variety, Paramount did market research to determine whether or not there was still an audience interest in Chris Pine and the 2009 reboot cast, given the long wait period between Beyond and a new Trek film. Insiders say that studio executives determined there was still lasting audience enthusiasm for Pine, Quino, and the rest of the cast, which allowed the studio to feel comfortable with moving forward with bringing them back. One person most likely to believe that Paramount was moving ahead on a Star Trek movie without Tarantino is Rod Roddenberry, son of Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry and the CEO of Roddenberry Entertainment. Roddenberry, who serves as an executive producer on several Star Trek series on Paramount+, Star Trek Discovery, Picard, Lower Decks, etc., told Forbes in September of 2021 that he had mixed feelings on Tarantino coming into the Star Trek fold. Quote, I struggle with that because the way I'm pretty myopic with the way I see Star Trek, Roddenberry said when asking about Tarantino's Star Trek idea. I mentioned that I grew up with fans coming up to me out saying how Star Trek inspired them and gave them hope for the future. It's the optimism and the messaging in there that makes Star Trek what it was. I truly believe that. If you create a Star Trek that is just action, that is not Star Trek in my opinion. That's what makes it different than Star Wars, and I love Star Wars, but they can both coexist. And I love Tarantino's work and the kind of films that he does. I'm trying to have an open mind. Roddenberry continued, I would be curious to read a script on his take. I do not think you can say we are going to do a Reservoir Dogs Star Trek. I'll be honest, that doesn't work for me, but he is a fan, and I think as a fan, he probably understands to some degree that Star Trek has to have some sort of this messaging. Production on the Tarantino-led new Star Trek movie will begin later this year. So yeah, it's like all the concerned people. Oh my God, Tarantino's Star Trek's going to contain a bunch of swearing. You could just just put it in there that he can't write a Star Trek movie with any swearing whatsoever. And plus, I think it's a pretty good idea to do like an Earthbound story. Do like a time travel. And like they said, his take was more akin to the episode A Piece of the Action. So guess what? It's going to be a hell of a lot cheaper for the studio to produce because they don't have to worry about so much frickin' CGI. Every which way, like every single frickin' J.J. Abrams movie ever made post, Star Trek 09. So it would be a cheaper film. It would be a cheaper film to produce. On top of that, it's being helmed by a fan of Star Trek. So I'm not saying that this would have been the absolute best movie ever made, because that would be like saying, Robert Orci's Star Trek Beyond would have been 10 times better than Justin Lin's Star Trek Beyond. We simply don't know. And yeah, for those that don't know, Roberto Orci was fired from Star Trek Beyond because his script was quote unquote too Star Trekky. Yes, and that was widely reported at the time. That's Roberto Orci was originally supposed to write and direct Star Trek Beyond. Then, like I said, Paramount fired him. But still, why wouldn't Paramount want to do Quentin Tarantino's Star Trek movie? Because it sounds like it's going to be a hell of a lot cheaper than Star Trek 4, than the Star Trek 4 that they're trying to develop now, with all the spaceships, all the explosions, all the CGI. There's going to be spaceships, explosions, and CGI because it's the flippin' Kelvin timeline. Sometimes less is more. And guys, that's pretty much all I got for you. If you stuck around this long, thanks so much for doing so. And if you've been following me long enough, you know I'm terrible at ending these videos. So I will just see you guys on next time.